The first part of the story will be in the description if you hadn't seen it yet. Now back to the video. As we entered the house, we saw that this guy had a wall with many weapons hung up and had many canned foods and medical supplies. After he helped patch up my leg, he asked us for our names, and I told him my name is Marvin, and my wife's name is Rose. Billy Bob Tanley looked intently at Rose and said, "Why is she not talking?" I answered, "She's just scared right now from everything, and it doesn't help also that our son ran away and was chased by those creatures." Billy Bob Tanley turned his attention to Rose and said, "Everything will be all right. I've been dealing with those bastards now for a while and been trying to discover their weakness." I then asked him, how does he know so much about those creatures and how to deal with them? He then answered, "I've been dealing with alien life forms for a while now. I was kidnapped many years ago by aliens and they probed my ass, and they reappeared in 2018 before I finally dealt with them, so I have a lot of experience dealing with alien life forms." "Wait, so you're telling me these are aliens?" I replied. He then said, "Most likely. I believe we're being attacked by an alien force who is here to end all of humanity, hence why the sun is gone." "And how exactly do you think they got rid of it?" Rose asked as Billy Bob Tanley replied, "Not sure, because alien technology is many years ahead of our own. That's why they are so dangerous, and we have to be careful." Suddenly we heard a knock at the door. Me and Rose became a bit scared. However, Billy Bob Tanley told us to stay quiet, and he would check out the noise as he got his rifle and went to the door. He looked through the peephole from the door and he asked, "Is by chance your son this guy who is wearing a yellow shirt and has a pencil in his nose and a helmet with a diaper?" Rose got excited as she said, "Jeffy!" and she ran to the door. However, Billy Bob Tanley quickly stopped her. Rose then said in anger, "What are you doing? That is my son!" She began to hit Billy Bob Tanley and then pushed him to a corner before Rose then opened the door. "Jeffy, oh my God, you're alive!" she said as she hugged him while crying. Jeffy seemed a bit unfazed by her reaction and just hugged her back. Confused, I then asked him, "Jeffy, how did you survive as all those creatures were chasing you?" He then said how he found a small hole to hide, and the creatures didn't see him hide in it, so they kept running. And then he kept walking until he found this cabin. Rose then said, "Well, we are happy that you are alive. This here is Billy Bob Tanley, and he will help us." Jeffy then looked at Billy Bob Tanley. Something in Jeffy's eyes didn't seem right. Billy Bob Tanley noticed this and raised his rifle at Jeffy, and then ordered me to ask Jeffy something personal that he would know the answer to. That caught me off guard, and also Rose was freaking out, and she was telling Billy Bob Tanley to put his rifle down, as that was her son. Billy Bob Tanley then yelled at me to ask Jeffy the fucking question, and then I said in a nervous tone, "What is one of your favorite toys you always play that bothers me because of the noise it makes?" Jeffy then just kept giving me this unnerving look and began to shake a little. Then Billy Bob Tanley raised his rifle and was about to shoot. Jeffy then began to twitch and began to transform into this weird hunchback pale creature that looked very strong, and he began to make this roar that sent shivers down my spine. Billy Bob Tanley began to shoot at the creature several times, which did some damage. He then yelled at us to run, before the creature grabbed him and ripped his arms off as Billy Bob Tanley screamed, before the creature began to eat his body. I saw this whole thing in horror, and I then quickly went to grab one of the weapons that were hung on the wall of the cabin. And as I saw the creature approach Rose as she screamed, I began to shoot the creature, yelling at him, "Stay away from her!" The creature crouched down a bit in pain before heading towards my direction, and I just kept shooting at it as the creature slowly died due to the blood, loss, and bullets. What the hell happened to Jeffy? And why did that thing look like him? Rose then yelled with visible fear in her voice. I told her, "I don't know, and I think that those creatures are intelligent, and we must be careful." I then found a bag and began to pack as much canned foods and water and weapons as I could before Rose and I left the cabin, and we ran back into the woods. We then began to run into more of those creatures, and I began to shoot at them, and me and Rose kept running, trying to find a way out of these woods. We were running for what felt like hours. My feet were killing me, and I believe the scratch on the leg was bleeding out again. I was running out of bullets. We thought we would die in these woods until we finally saw an opening that led out to a grass field. We felt a big relief, but as we were making our way over there, we saw a sight that scared us. Those creatures were all bowing down as the moonlight was shining on them, as if they were worshiping something. We quickly brought our attention back to the grass field opening, but as we were almost out, Rose stepped on a branch. The creatures then stopped praying and brought their attention to us. I knew they were going to run after us, and I knew I didn't have enough bullets to kill them all, so I gave Rose my bag with all the supplies and told her to run. She began to cry and say no, that she wasn't going to leave me, but I told her if she stayed we'd both die, and I told her to run and don't stop until she finds a place that is safe. She nodded and then gave me one last hug before running off. The creatures then came running, all of them screeching at me. The sound made my ears bleed. However, I began to shoot at them. I tried to kill as many as I could before one of them scratched me, cutting my stomach as I felt my body becoming weak and losing my strength. The adrenaline that was keeping me alive to this point was leaving, as I soon passed out. I soon woke up in bed in a room that was shined by some lanterns. In front of me, I saw my good friend Brooklyn T. Guy. I almost cried at the sight of him, happy that I wasn't eaten by one of those creatures and was in a safe place. Brooklyn Guy comforted me, telling me that everything was going to be all right, and I was in a refugee camp and I was safe now.